Dusk is falling over the hillside of the Dart Valley near Widley, a little to the west of Tiverton. The Dart River winds through gently wooded banks below. As the late afternoon autumn sunshine fades, a red deer stag issues his challenge across the valley, and hinds gather, while we anticipate a twilight encounter with some local birds of prey, tawny owls, so often heard hunting and calling in the night, but rarely seen. Close to his house, but at the edge of the pasture by the owl's familiar woodland territory, is a place where Stephen knows the owls will come, and friends can be assured of a clear and close-up view of their behaviour. He has built a bond of trust with this owl pair over many years, using simple actions they've accepted, limiting their wariness near recognised people, as he had done with the otters. Feeding was the crucial inducement to the owls, sparingly used so as not to create a dependency. Initially, the intention was to attract the attentions of an entirely different bird he was interested in, a buzzard. Food, rejected day-old male chicks, was left on a platform on the hillside across from his house. This disappeared regularly, so he set up a self-triggered flash photography system to confirm what was taking the food, which, to his surprise, turned out to be a tawny owl. Being a predominantly nocturnal predator, they're often heard hunting, but few people are lucky enough to catch more than a glimpse of them in the twilight. This prompted a new challenge, their close observation in the wild. The birds weren't put off by the flash, and even his occasionally moving the table to new locations nearby didn't seem to faze them. The next step was to replenish the food each time the table was visited and food taken, getting them used to his presence. He also used a whistle call signal the owls would come to associate with food placement. The timing of this feeding might vary from evening to evening, but each time with the call made to announce its availability, a form of communication had evolved, and the sharp-eared creatures would usually turn up soon after. This trust extended to allowing repeated replenishments in a session, signalling each time. Over time, the owls came to accept that at dusk these feeding encounters would probably happen and be in that area. They would hear signals or see the floodlight as they hunted. By now, Stephen had moved the feeding table to an ideal location for the owls to perch in nearby trees, and for people to watch from the field. It still seems quite amazing that Stephen has managed to accustom these wild animals to something so unnatural as floodlighting and reputed human presence. It's as well to do a recce in the afternoon while the light is still good enough to see where the guide ropes are and to choose where to position yourself when it's fully dark. The routine proceeds. Stephen makes his way along the hedge line and adds food to the table, then retires back to the hide. The two-tone whistle says, "Come and get it." Then, after a slightly anxious wait and a period of absolute stillness, all is frantic action as one silently swoops down to take food, and perhaps spend some time at the table. Distancing ourselves some metres away and behind a floodlight effectively shields us from sight. This creates a pool of assured empty space around the table they seem confident to enter. This male is far more assured than the female and stays longer, while she grabs and goes. Within the hide, or beside Stephen, some lucky visitors, like us, can now share in the rare close-up experience of these magnificent birds.